Folks, I clicked that link, which took me straight to Eusebius McKeiser speaking about freedom of speech. This is relating to the Minister Lindiwe Sisulu's opinion ad, and as well as Joe Rogan. Okay, because of Neil Young. Neil Young apparently is a singer. I think I know a name, but don't ask me to tell you one song about Neil Young. Okay, so what happened? Neil Young, together with his manager, okay, he's an artist. He's on Spotify. They write a letter to Spotify saying, "Hey, Joe Rogan promotes misinformation about what our minister called COVID. Okay, COVID-19, the minister he's writing misinformation about COVID, and he's also bringing guests. Matter of fact, he's bringing guests who are giving a whole lot of misinformation about COVID-19. Okay, so Spotify says, "Oh, okay, this is an ultimatum. We either kick out Joe Rogan, or we accede to your request of removing your song from Spotify." And Spotify removed Neil Young's songs, the whole catalog from Spotify. But now, listen to this. So it's always an issue where people are not discussing the merit of the issues. So they would say, "Oh, look, Spotify had a huge deal with Joe Rogan, close to about 100 million. And Joe Rogan's got about 11 million listeners per day. So clearly, more people listen to Joe Rogan, and as a result, they get advertised some products on Spotify. So Spotify will have a whole lot of a lot to lose if they let go of Joe Rogan. So the issue is then not discussed. What is it that Joe Rogan is filtering out to the masses that is misleading about the COVID? Nobody's saying that. Then there were a letter of some medical doctors, over 100, writing that Joe Rogan also is misleading regarding COVID. Yeah, I'm calling it COVID. And only to find out that they were like engineers and the vets in a list of those folks. So not really experts. But the funny part is no one will ever pinpoint the inaccuracies that Joe Rogan is always talking about. And then when coming to Eusebius McKeiser, his argument is, I'm just paraphrasing, his argument is, hey, listen, Neil Young is not against freedom of speech when he demands that Joe Rogan should be yanked out of the Spotify, okay? He's just merely saying that he's passing misinformation to the masses, which could be harmful, okay? I don't know what kind of harm would that be when it comes to your freedom of speech and so forth, what the Americans call the First Amendment. And Eusebius also says that he's disturbed by there was an advocate Sikakani, and I think it's Aubrey Matriki. I might butchering his surname, on Sisulu and Rogan's show, where they were saying that they are concerned, I think that's the word, concerned or worried at the direction in which freedom of speech is being impeded or is impeded, about the op-ed of Lindiwe Sisulu coming out. And Eusebius says that I think the most thing that people should worry about is it's basically not having to have like a whole hour sermon of talking about how uh, worried we are about this trend of freedom of speech of other people being impeded. We should be worried about um, people saying that when someone is disagreeing with you, or for instance, Judge Zondo coming over there and saying that the whole judiciary was insulted unnecessarily by this op-ed, that you shouldn't criticize uh, the likes of Zondo, because they are not necessarily shutting down freedom of speech. I guess it's because of they haven't appealed to the media publishers for Minister Lindiwe Sisulu to not be published again, and so forth. And he also gave an example about there was a gentleman from of Greek descent. He was in Greece. He's a South African. He went to Greece. He was at the beach there, and saying that there are no K, the K word around here. Everything is nice. And Eusebius said that I guess this would then be linked with Minister Sisulu saying that judges who are house Negroes, or to put it bluntly, house Niggers, right? Which is the same thing, the derogatory word that's been used, obviously, of racism. But because of Lindiwe Sisulu, she's African, and she's criticizing the judges which are of African descent as house Negroes, then it wouldn't be racism, obviously. Then I guess it falls to insult, this identity politics business. But then Eusebius said that guy uh, the of Greek descent called black folks the K word, and everybody criticized that individual and attacked the issue of saying he has then had racist words, and he's been a racist towards black folks. And then how come there are no people who are saying we are worried that the freedom of speech is being impeded, it's been stopped? Allow Mr. I think it's Katselo or Katsevelos, allow him to use the K word. We are very worried about you guys now being against freedom of speech. Allow the guy to verbalize his racist words, and let's discuss his freedom of speech to be racist. So in essence, Eusebius is saying that, okay, listen, that's why nobody was saying they're worried about freedom of speech being impeded, when everybody came down like a ton of bricks against that gentleman who called black folks the K word. Okay, so you are saying look at the bigger picture, but I guess there are differences, because on Minister Lindiwe Sisulu's op-ed, she wasn't just talking about the judiciary. In fact, I think it was the last paragraph, where the last item where she was speaking about the judiciary. She spoke about unemployment. She spoke about how it's difficult it is for someone to be able to get justice. I mean, you see it. Any individual who's just a blue collar and even a white collar employee, you have to go through your magistrate court, the high court, the court of appeal, and the constitutional court, and the fees are super expensive. So even if you have an issue where you are experiencing injustice and you have to go to court, if you had money, you would go to court and win. But if you don't have money, you will stop somewhere at the high court, and if the judges from the higher court says, you know what, you're guilty, or we're no longer taking your issue, you have lost, and that's it. That's where it ends. And she also speak about employment and equality, justice, and so forth, and making sure that people should just look holistically through the last so many years, I think 30 years, of how the Constitution and its beautiful text, how good has it impacted on people and so forth. Then you start looking at issues like the hiking of interest rates by the Reserve Bank and so forth, and its mandate, and because its mandate is to stabilize the rand. But you look at the rand from about 10 years ago, the currency is just tanking. Okay, it's losing its values. It's sort of an opinion ad that would make people to sit down and say, how do we make ourselves better? But it resulted in the zooming in of her talk about the justices that just blew the whole thing out of the water. And it's where we are. So I hope that next time, whenever someone put out an op-ed, those issues would then be tackled one by one, and you have a debate about that. And if somebody's saying Joe Rogan is giving out information about the COVID 19, and then we should then listen to the clip and watch the clip of what he had said or what his guest has said, and then tackle that issues. And then you have people who are pro and against what they've said, coming up with facts, and nobody being blocked out in the media sphere, so that people can make up their mind and form an opinion which is healthy for the society to move forward and progress. And my name is Mamuji, and I thank you for watching the Mamuji Show. I'm out.